Dio, welcome in. How are you doing today? Okay, good. I'm not feeling great, but I'm gonna try anyway. I don't know what's up. Got- Get you guys ready here real quick, and then we'll get started. Running about a day and a half behind. I wanted to do a drawing stream yesterday. Oops. Because I didn't make it. Plus that, it's just a picture done. Hey Haru, welcome in. What? I changed that. How many times I gotta change it? There, I updated it 3 more times. Hopefully that fixed it.
Badly.
How
Ooh,
you doing?
portal time. Let's go. Take me up.
You doing, Haru?
Okay.
Sometimes I think that software is a little goofy. It doesn't do what it's supposed to sometimes. It's been a couple of years since I've done a sushi stream. Wonder if I should do one. Not sure how much I could do with that though. Looking at all bamboo mats right now. There's right here. Over the weekend. Right. I did manage to get a couple of boxes of jars. Smaller ones. They didn't have bigger ones. And started cleaning up some of our spices. Most of the bags were about 2 ounces bigger than all the jars of the spice for the spices. Bunch of 7-ounce bags and only 4-ounce jars. Down right. On the plus side, now that when I go to make stuff like that, like sambal and other special things, I'll have the smaller size jars to do it the right way instead of making massive amounts. Because a quart jar is just too big for that. I'm not mass producing sambal for 30 people. Okay, I think we're just about ready. I would normally do this today in the wok, but I'm going to use the stove. Well, it'll be a little easier to see. Oh, okay. Well, welcome in. It's Saturday. We are on time today. And we're going to be making some Chinese dishes. Now, I've got 2 tofu-based dishes today. We're going to try to lower the salt, increase the spice, and decrease the calories. It's important. I'm still not doing too well weight-wise. So I thought I'd do that today. We've also got a pork stir-fry dish, which will also be a main for this week. And if we have time, we'll make some crab rangoons too. That's what I said last time, but we'll see. We've got a little time today. So, without too much longer here, grab it. Drink, and we will get started. Well, here we are. I've got it still set to be zoomed in a little bit. My actual workspace is like, okay, it's about 6 inches on each side. We're gonna need our new knives today. A lot of salt on the table. There we go. That camera's very touchy. So today we're going to start off with our Szechuan tofu and green bean stir fry. We've got some fresh green beans, which I literally got just like an hour ago. They don't look bad this time. Finally got some good ones. And we got ourselves a nice block of extra firm tofu for this one because we're going to stir fry this. We're going to need some Chinkiang vinegar, which we can't yet, and some tomato paste, which we'll also need. So let's go digging for those. The vinegar is very similar to balsamic, so we will use that. some organic tomato paste here. We're going to use this along with this. Oh, hey Shin, welcome in. Hello, how are you doing? Ooh. Okay, 2 teaspoons of sugar. They do need white sugar for this one. Doing well, doing well. How goes the cooking? We are literally just getting started on the very first one today. So welcome in. I've got the camera zoomed in, so I'm trying to figure out where my center is now. Trying to get it centered for you. So you need 2 teaspoons of sugar. I did check, this is white sugar. Just standard stuff. I'm going to check my calibration today. It's a little bit much, but it's pretty close. Yeah, there we go. We're working on a green bean Szechuan and tofu meal today. This is our first one. They do want the balsamic, so we need that. Not sure where that one is. Oh, there it is. We do have proper balsamic. This is part of our sauce. This is a little bit of a sweeter vinegar, but it still has the vinegar in it. Which will pair nicely with the spicy. Let's see. I'm going to try not to rush things a little bit today. Now it's asking for crushed red pepper. I'm of the opinion that it can't be Szechuan without actual Szechuan in it. So we'll get that here in just a second. I'm going to use a small amount of the red chili flake that they're calling for. Maybe about a 1/4 teaspoon or so. It's not much. All right, a little more. I've got more beans than they asked for. But I'm also going to use the Sichuan peppercorn because they didn't call for it, and I just don't believe that's right. You can't make Sichuan without Sichuan. I have a separate little grinder that I use for spices like this. It's been a little while. A smidgen, slightly more than a pinch. Hey, don't judge me. I use this special little Turkish grinder for things like this. These are our Sichuan red peppercorns. They have that. They have that minty smell to them. Exactly. Oh, these are grinding very easy. Hey, Bobo. Welcome in. Congrats on first. Is that it? Are we about empty? Just about. All right, there's our friend, the Sichuan peppercorn. Working and listen. Okay. If I do something really bad, holler at me. We just mixed the Sichuan peppercorn with the red chili flake. Okay. Next up is we need about 3-4 cups of green beans and 4 cloves of garlic and 2 teaspoons of fresh ginger. We may not be able to do that. We'll see. I gotta check it. Do, however, have some very nice garlic, and it is very honkin' big. Yeah, the tongue tinglies. That's exactly what it does. Gotta use the right stuff. It says 4 cloves. We'll use 4 today, but only because they're, bigger than my thumb. I bought one more head of garlic just in case today. And then we got 2 teaspoons of minced ginger. I do have ginger paste. I did have a big chunk of it. I'm not sure where it went. I suspect I might have tossed it. After it sits for 2 weeks in the fridge, it's probably not good to use it anyway. It starts turning dark on you and getting soft. So we use the preserved stuff. I did, however, find a new source for garlic ginger paste. I've got a big jar of it now. When I crack it open here in a couple of weeks, I'm probably going to have to freeze some of it. By a big jar, I mean a big jar. This is a huge jar. Hey, T-Pain, welcome in. This is a pound and a half. This is a pound and a half of just ground ginger garlic paste, 50-50 mix. So I'll probably have to freeze some of it. All right. else. Just water, and oil. Oh, and cornstarch. How much cornstarch? Okay. I've never done this recipe before, so I'm just kind of checking my notes. Cornstarch is, in this case, going to be used as a coating for the tofu. This particular set of recipes today is more about prep than it is about having to do a lot of work cooking. So that's good. Went to this restaurant once, Sinking Rose. Every dish was literally saturated in garlic. Takes days to watch. It wasn't a bad thing though, was it? You can, and it said a teaspoon as well, so that ought to do it. I'll put a little more in there. There we go. Cornstarch. You can use potato starch as well if it's more available. I picked up some more of the unusual ingredients that we run into frequently. I managed to get some fenugreek. So every time we have these recipes that call for fresh fenugreek, I at least have the dried leaves and not just powder. That's what that was hard to find. All right. All that's left is a little bit of water and a little bit of oil, but that's always pretty much a given at this point. I am going to measure out the water though because it's part of the mix. So let's get a half cup of water here. There we go. All right, I think that is it for this one. So let's get a picture for our Discord. I am up to date on all of those. We should be able to post it pretty quickly as soon as I find my phone, which I had 2 minutes ago. You'll note that there's no salt in this one. Only the natural salt that came up with what's there. This is all about sweet and spicy. Alright, so this will be posted in Discord. If anybody wants to join, you're welcome to do so. If you do join, give us a little while. We do manual confirmation. Just let us know you're there. So I'm going to set our sauce ingredients off to the side over here and start working on our little bit of prep that we got to do. We'll start today with our garlic. Cut off the hard end. We'll just do the smash. You know what? I gotta do this like Uncle Lau. There we go. Right tool for the right job. Hey Kivu, welcome in. Should I try again? Try not to sound as harsh. Guten Tag. That better? Got a little bit of a spot on that one. I'm just going to take that right off. We're going to cut up our big parts right now. I gotta watch it. This is the new knife. Only going one direction. We're going to get our grind up nice and small today on this one. I'm afraid to do what I usually do. I think that probably about do it. I don't want to lose a finger, so I'm being a little bit more careful today. So there's our 4 cloves of garlic, which looks more like half a cup, but that's okay, right? All right, next up is our beans. We're going to trim and prep those. We'll get a second bowl here. And we'll rinse these off really well. These were bulk beans, so I could just pull them out of the bin by the fistful. is exactly what I did. Alright, we're going to trim these to bite-sized pieces because these are going to be roasted, basically roasted in the fry here. So I'm going to cut them down to a little smaller than the last time. We got a bit of a high wind situation going on here today, but the temperature's good. So you might hear some noise from that. I suppose with these, if you're looking for an easier way to do it, you could use frozen beans. I would suggest, however, that probably wouldn't be the best option because they're probably going to come out smushy instead of crisp. We're going to want these are going to be fried instead of boiled or steamed. We still got garlic all over this thing. Hope everybody's having a great weekend. It's pretty nice here. Easter Saturday for those that do that kind of thing. Yesterday was a holiday for us. One of our few here. I thought I had more than enough. It looks like I don't have enough, but that's alright. We'll just go with what we got. I would not use canned ones. Canned ones just will not work. Not for this. Hey, Mr. Robin James, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Hope you have a good weekend. about done with this, and we'll start prepping our tofu and then make our sauce. The actual cooking part won't take very long. Most of these today are fairly easy. Don't require a lot of ingredients. Which also means, of course, that they don't cost a whole lot either. And after seeing the fact that they raised the cost of, I don't know about elsewhere, but here, the most garbage type of chicken in existence that they sell for fast food, to $30 for 12 of them. I don't think people are going to be eating that anymore. I know in other countries they're better, but here they're just awful. And I'm not going to say the name. I think you all know who it is. Alright, there we go. We got our beans ready. Next up is our tofu. This is extra firm organic. For some reason, they only have one type of tofu from firm down and a different type of tofu for the extra firm. I don't know why, but that's what they've always had here. It's kind of a strange thing. Different brand and everything. So for this one today, we're not actually frying this. We're not going to just fry it up until it's crispy. That's not this recipe. So we're going to do it a little differently. We're not going to do the salt boil first. We are going to dry it though. I'll just wash my knife off real quick. So it's not quite as sticky. Okay. For this one, we're probably going to cut this up into roughly 1-inch cubes. Alright, trying to figure out the best way to do this. So first off, we're going to cut this about halfway through. You want to just press through it gently. You want to just cut it in half, and then half again, and half again. Do the same thing over here. That's probably the best way to do it. And we need to get these all dried out. We do want them dry, so we're gonna have to get a couple paper towels, kind of press them in. Start off by just kind of taking off the top layer here. Remember, this is still fairly soft despite the fact that it says it's extra firm. So you gotta be gentle with it. There we go. We're just gonna kind of press into it, but gently. We're not gonna press it real hard. Try and pull as much water out as you can. It's going to be pretty wet. I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing a second time. That should be enough for this one. It's still going to be a little bit wet, yes. It'll absorb up the sauce and everything else here in a little bit. So next up we're going to need to make our sauce. And I did not entirely forget the soy sauce. I did not forget it. Nope. So we got a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. This is low sodium. Nope, didn't forget that. I need about a tablespoon of, well, there we go. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those days. Luckily I cleaned our table off earlier. We just lost sugar, that's okay. I got plenty. I've been using the same bag of sugar for about 5 years. There we go. No harm, no foul. We'll try to open this can again over here somewhere, away from the mess. been a day. We need roughly 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. That's probably a little bit more than they wanted, but there you go. We'll set that in the fridge. Oh, thank you for the follow, coconut as well. No, don't mind too much going on here today. I'm a little shaky. All right. So we've got our soy sauce and our tomato paste, our vinegar, our sugar, our red pepper, and a teaspoon of cornstarch is going into that bowl, along with a 1/4 cup of water. It's about half the water. Our sugar, our spices, and 1 teaspoon of our cornstarch. Ow. That cracking noise was definitely not my knee. And I believe the vinegar goes in there too. Yeah. We'll go ahead and start whipping this together. Bring in our vinegar now, before I forget. Now we're going to marinate our tofu in this. But we also need to add this other cornstarch. I'm not sure why I said to mix it in like that. Huh. Okay. We're just going to drop our tofu down in here. It's thickening up a little bit. We're going to have to fold the tofu in along with that cornstarch very carefully. First, we'll go ahead and get the tofu wet. First we dry the wets, then we wet the dries, then we dry the wets, then we wet the dries. I don't do a lot of baking. Alright, so now we've got at least some basic coating of our sauce here. Now we can sort of mix in our cornstarch powder here. kind of fold it in. You don't want to be rough with it or you'll break it. And that's pretty much it for prepping the tofu. We are almost ready to go ahead and go to the oven with this. Or the stove. This is a fairly easy one. It just takes you a minute. Alright. Let's switch over to the stove and we'll get started. So over here we're going to start off heating up some oil. Get it nice and hot. Then we're going to add our tofu to the pan, but we're going to do it slowly, or well, quickly, but we're just going to set it in there and let it sear a little bit until it curls up a little, because if you try to flip it early, it's just going to tear. We're going to get that until it's somewhat crispy. We're not really going to get it fried heavily like we do with some other ones. Then we're going to cut our heat down, we're going to add a little more oil, and then start adding our green beans and our garlic and our ginger. And then we'll add in our little bit of water and some other things. Hello, T-Pain. How you doing? So we're going to do this kind of in a two-stage run here. And because we're running this on a higher heat, I'm going to use a different oil today. Normally I use olive oil. Let's see. We'll use our safflower and avocado oil today for this one. Get a decent coating going on there. It's about a couple of tablespoons. See if I can move you all over a little bit. Get a better view. There we go. We're going to get this nice and hot. This is going to be on about a 7.5 to an 8. We want that oil to be a little bit close to smoking. Our green beans and our garlic, ginger, and the last little bit of water will come later. Alright. It's fairly hot, but it's not quite ready yet. Gotta be patient. Now you can adjust your spices here. This is when you start working on this, you can adjust your spices to whatever you like. I'm probably going to add a little bit more, but not much. I also personally think it needs black pepper. And not just the Sichuan. Oh, commercials. Okay, the oil's starting to smoke. I'm going to have to start. Again, gotta be a little patient. Looks like all that extra sauce was starting to gum up and burn. The process on this one, it may not be as good as they think it is. I spotted it and I started moving them around a little bit to try and avoid it. Oh, we got pouncing going on already? Oh boy. nicely, but we gotta be careful. I think it was a little too hot. The stove being as unpredictable as it is, we gotta be careful. But I think I caught it in time before it became an issue. This is going to be difficult today, I can see. I had a feeling today wasn't going to be a great day. Oh well, we'll work with it. We'll get them as crispy as we can. Without making a mess. It always amazes me when I do a recipe like this, how some of it cooks so much faster than the rest, even though they're the same size, and they came off the same block. Said I'd try it their way, but on the next one I'm not going to. Yeah, this sauce mixture is just not working with this pan. Normally I'd use a wok. I guess I should have. Let me clean this off real quick. We'll start on the green bean part. bring the temperature down a little bit. All right. When I post this recipe, I'm going to alter it because most everybody's not going to have a wok. So I'll try to alter it so that it'll be more suitable for the pan. You could probably do it on black iron as well. So we're going to add in. I've lowered the temperature down to medium. We don't need much more oil. We've already got plenty. So we're going to bring in our green beans, our garlic, and then our ginger. Get this mixed well. Alright, we're going to let that saute for a couple minutes until they start to cook fairly well. Then we'll toss in our sauce and bring our tofu back and finish it. We want these beans to have a little bit of color to them. also going to add a little more water to our sauce. It's thickening up too fast. Alright, here we go with our soy sauce mixture. We need to make sure that we stir it up really well. All that vinegar has deglazed the pan a little bit. And as you can see, it's already starting to thicken up and it's not even up to temperature yet. Oh gosh, that thickened up almost instantly. That was supposed to simmer for a little while. Let's thin that back down a little bit. There we go. Now that that's more like it should be, you can make adjustments if you want to at this point. At this point for me, I'm going to add a little bit of the peppercorn, as well as a little more of the chili flake. We'll stir that in and let it thicken a little bit more. I have lowered the heat down below to 4. Having it up on high was too much. So I'll definitely make some adjustments. As you can see now, it looks just fine. Now it looks fine. So we had to do a little safe maneuver today. A little bit of experience, a little practice, you can do that. Not too big of a deal. Sometimes it happens with cornstarch, you have to be careful. We've got a fairly decent sauce consistency. This is what we want. So I'm going to call that one good right there. We'll just let it sit in our serving bowl. It definitely has that sweet and spicy smell to it. I can smell it. It's pretty strong. That's our first one today. Required a little bit of extra work, but not a big deal. I know it's a little dark because of the sunlight, but it's actually about a light reddish color. I think I would have preferred to cook the beans by themselves a little bit longer, then add the garlic. This is fine. It's just this isn't going to have that crispy dark green color that you want with a lot of them. I'm going to have to wash our pan real quick because we got to do a second one to this one. We're going to be a little conservative today and try and not use 6 different pans, right? Alright. For our second trick today, we're going to make one that I found. It's called the Spicy Tofu Hot Pot. It's kind of an interesting one. This one does call for fresh Chinese noodles, which I can't get here, so we're going to have to do a couple extra steps. Got some. Where'd they go? Up there. I've never used these before. I've got these Asian Chinese lo mein noodles, which are in stick form. You probably will find these at your major grocery store fairly easy. I know I can get these in 5-pound bags for a lot less over at the Asian store, but they weren't open, so. Alright, we're going to need 6 cloves of garlic for this one. Bring our board back. The inner cloves are a little smaller, so we could probably use a little more. Well, heck, even the inner ones aren't so small. Look at that. wish these these heads of garlic that I keep finding were a little more consistent. If they were all like this, it would be great. So I've got a little more than six. We got 7. No big deal. That's the whole head there today. We're gonna eat some brown sugar for this one. This is also a tofu dish, so we have a second block of tofu today. This one I've got firm instead of the extra firm. We need a 1/4 cup of reduced sodium soy sauce. This time I won't forget it up front. Can we not splash everywhere, please? Thank you. Store brand is fine. I've been using store brand for this for quite a while now. I've gone through about 6 or 7 bottles of it. I've never had a quality issue with it. So if you're concerned about that, I think it's fine for using it for your recipes. We need chili garlic sauce. Now, this recipe was made back when that was still available. The chili garlic sauce that they're referring to is not made anymore. The reason for that was the same reason that we had problems with sriracha. Now it's been changed, it's not the same thing anymore. I, however, still have a couple of bottles of the original left. They're not going to last forever, but I'm going to use them. This is the good stuff. And I believe it said 2 teaspoons, so there we go. 4 ought to be good. This stuff's potent, don't play with it if you do have some. Me personally, I do like it double. Alright. We need a 1/2 cup of cilantro and some vegetable broth. We do have those. I still have some from the last one we made. Got the low sodium. We got some very fresh cilantro. They actually just put it out when I got it. We need some bok choy and some mushrooms. And let's see. We still need to get that brown sugar. I'm going to use palm sugar for that today. So there's our bok choy. We'll use a little bit more authentic stuff. Coconut palm sugar. We need 1 tablespoon of that. We're just going to bunch it all up today, right? shiitake, and I can't get those, but I can get Bella's, which are fairly close. Those will work. What else have we got today? We need and ginger. We need 2 tablespoons of ginger again. So we'll do the same thing. Where'd our green one go? There's our green one. This is supposed to be a coffee scoop, but it just so happens that coffee scoops are also 2 tablespoons. We're almost out of the ginger. Which is fine, because it ain't going to last too much longer anyway. I don't want to waste it. We'll put a little bit more in there. There we go. Now that I've got properly sized jars, we could potentially make some of these things ourselves. Maybe we should do a stream. Do you think we should do a stream where we're just making up our own sauces and ingredients? It has potential. All right. Again, you don't see any salt here because there's enough in that soy sauce, even the reduced is enough. Let's see, is there anything else that I need to check for? Nope. Nope, that's it. You're not going to believe how quick this one's supposed to be. This one is literally all prep work. The rest of it is like 4 minutes. This is a fairly easy one. I'm a little skeptical of the mushrooms, though. It says 2 minutes to cook those mushrooms. If anybody else is out there has ever cooked mushrooms before, I think you know as well as I do that ain't going to happen. Those suckers take at least 10 minutes. But let's see. And since this one is a little more of a soup, I will use the Dutch oven. I didn't realize there was that much broth in it. So I'll grab our Dutch oven. All right, I've got a picture of this. We're going to go ahead and start prepping. The vegetable broth, we're going to need the whole thing, and we're probably going to need a little bit more out of the chicken broth bottle, if I'm being honest. That's fine. That's what I have it for. Now we need 8 ounces of these noodles. Now these noodles, I can tell you right now, you love to try to use them as often as possible. See, they're good. They're good as a meat substitute too. They're filling and still decent for that. These noodles, I'm going to think about these a little bit while I'm getting this other stuff ready, because I think we're probably going to have to cook those separately, and we're going to have to add those at the end instead of adding it during the cooking process. Alright, I've already semi-scrubbed our cleaver here. Now, let me see how much we needed of these. We need about half a cup of that cilantro. So we're looking at about that much. So let me rinse this off. You can kind of eyeball it. That ought to do it. Ooh, that really is fresh. For those of you that have the little genetic issue, I apologize, but you can probably substitute parsley for this. It won't be quite the same, but at least it won't have that soapy aftertaste that you don't like. I bet you we got it right on the money. We're a little short. We're a little short. Huh. Okay. I'll cut a little more. I like mushrooms too. I do like using them for these recipes. And I do have a tendency to use them as a substitute when necessary. There we go. I think that'll do it. As I'm trying to get it all off my fingers. Gotta love wet greens. Alright, so we've got two ready. Now, how much of this bok choy do we need for this one? We need about 4 cups. Alright, so let me rinse this off. We'll start breaking these. We're not going to use the whole stem. That's most of it right there. I'm going to try to do it in 2 stages. We want these thinly sliced. That's probably not thin enough. There we go. Takes me a minute, but I'll get there. That's probably about 2 cups right there. Alright, let's see if I can get the... There we go. I think we got it. These won't go in until close to the end because it won't take but about 30 seconds for those to wilt down. And head off for dinner. Okay, we'll see you later, Dio. We'll see you when you get back. I'll probably still be here. Alright, so there's our bok choy greens. Now we gotta take care of this garlic. Huh. Usually it just pops right off when I do that. Let's see how fine of a chop we want for this one. Okay, we do want a very fine chop for this. So you may want to do what we did before. Just give it a good smash. Oh, Jindal, hello. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. How are you all doing? I get you in just a second. I know you won't. Everybody on my side, if you haven't followed Jindal, give Jindal a chance. He does a lot of gaming and does a lot of good work, and he's been a real good friend for several years now, actually. It's been about 3 or 4 years, hasn't it? Dinner, we're working on it. Hey Darius, welcome in as well. Where's our Easter dinner? We'll start there, and then we'll get Darius too. I'm glad to see y'all today.
Okay, so this is where it's from. Yeah, I haven't really seen any spoilers, but I saw the clip of him.
I'm giving it the old Chinese cleaver treatment today. You want it nice and ground. I learned the Chinese technique. Using it pretty rapidly. You gotta pee, okay? That's one of those things we don't really need to know, but thanks. And hello to you too, Darius. Welcome in. We're working on dinner. This is a tofu hot pot kind of thing. At least that's what they called it. It's not exactly. I think it's more of a kind of a saucy soup. We're getting ready to make our noodles here in a minute. I'm just prepping up our veggies. Because this is all going to fry while our noodles are cooking. There's so much garlic. Okay, there we go. The reason I'm smashing it so heavily, you don't need to do that normally, but since they're calling for this to be minced and not just chopped, it helps to just smash it. So I'm just decimating it. I've used up a whole head today already, Jindal. Garlic is life. I've learned a few techniques from several places here. And the last of the little ones. One thing about using the knife this way, I know it's not entirely typical, but I've seen lots of people do it. I keep my hand on the upper side of it to balance it, but also to keep my fingers out from underneath it. Come on. All right. 6 cloves of garlic. Wow. Okay, next up is our mushrooms. Oh, by the way, Jindal, I still have some. I got the good stuff. The green cap. I've only got 1 jar left, though. I do, however, have a recipe. I can make my own and match the original. The only thing I need are peppers that I can't seem to find. Alright, we're going to wash off our mushrooms really well. There's a lot of dirt on these. These are not shiitakes. Shiitake mushrooms, the only way I can get them is dried, and I've tried making them with dried shiitakes before. Dried shiitakes do not work very well. So we're going to use Bella's. We're sticking to our rule today of only 2 bowls. I think that the consistency and everything else with these mushrooms is still just as good for recipes like this. That cackles. Hey Melina, welcome in. And Stubby, hello. How are you doing? You all settled back in now that you're home? I would assume so. It's been 2 weeks now, I guess. I lose track of time anymore. Not doing bad? Well, that's great. Good to hear. I'm still washing these a little bit while I'm bringing them out because I can still see some dirt on them here and there. These are fairly fresh. They're very firm. They're not super slimy. I hate that when they send them out like that. Now it did only call for 4 ounces of mushrooms. I'm just going to use the whole box. It's like 6. I don't think it's going to make much difference. I'm not leaving the stems in, so that'll cut down on it a little bit. Oh, and for those that rated in with Jingle, our first dish is cooled down a little bit and starting to thicken up, but we've got our Szechuan green bean tofu. Very spicy. I had to add water to that twice because that recipe is not good. I had to modify it. Normally I try to follow things to the letter when they're new, but that one wasn't happening. These mushrooms look great. This is the last of them. These are the little bitty ones. I think we'll let those consist and just cut them in half. Nice and clean. Alright, there we go. There's our mushrooms. Now we've got, I think, just our tofu. This tofu will not be fried. I know, right? Nope, this tofu is going to be cooked into the batch. Now I am not, as I mentioned, these lo mein noodles are rice noodles. The thing about doing rice noodles is that you can't really preserve them for 24 hours. Most of these recipes I'm cooking are meant to last an entire week at work. So, when we do a recipe that involves rice noodles, we have to cook enough for just the demonstration, but not the whole week. For this type of a recipe, I'll cook some of them for today, and this will be my dinner, and then I'll have some of them portioned out and set aside so that I can cook them, say, on Tuesday, and I'll eat something different, which will be our third recipe today, on Monday. And that way they don't have to sit for very long. And we don't have to do quite as much prep work on this tofu. We just need to cut it up and press it just a little bit. This is a firm tofu instead of an extra firm, so keep that in mind when you're working on it. You don't want to be too rough. We're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to cut it in half down the center first. Watch your fingers. I do not even want to touch my hand with this knife. It will result in cutting me. I'm going to cut these a little smaller. You just start in the middle. It's a little easier for you to cut them evenly if you do that. Okay, got fairly even cubes. I'm, however, out of paper towels. Let's see if we have some more up here. Yep, we do. I have so many bad things happen to me all the time that I just prep against it now. You'll find at my house that pretty much anything you might need that you'll run out of, you'll find it in the appropriate room. And then you'll wonder why there's extra. Here we go. This is the first of the batch of the paper towels that I bought after the pandemic. I know, right? The great toilet paper wars of 2020. I had that many. I had a 36 pack in the basement. Remember, it's not very heavy. You press it, but don't squish it. You want it to be as dry as you can. But we're not frying it, so it doesn't have to be super dry. Despite the curse today, we're doing pretty good. I will fight it. It's already taken a couple of pot shots at me, right? I was watching something from, I guess, really technically my childhood, and it was a show. You know, when I was growing up, there were like 4 things that were going to absolutely kill you no matter what. The first one was the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle was going to take you out no matter what. The second one was quicksand. No matter what happened, no matter what show it was, TV was always telling you were going to die in quicksand. The third one, which I had forgotten about until recently, was the Curse of Tutankhamun. That one, good luck. And then the last one was the Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond was going to get you, that curse, if you even got near it. And I remembered that when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I went and saw it. I got close to it. Because they had it at the Smithsonian. A couple of people have suggested that that may be what happened. I got too close to the Hope Diamond. Or I sat in its presence too long. And that's what caused my problem. I mean, I've almost been hit by a car like 10 times. It's not going to get me. I don't think it really wants me to stop. Which happened again today. Alright. Let's get out of that. Okay, the next thing up is to start frying everything, but also we need to do something with these lo mein noodles. So I'm going to make a small batch of them, and we're just going to cook these. How is this box sealed? I don't want to tear it up. Oh, come on. All right. It says 8 ounces. This is 14 ounces. So we're going to use about a third of this. And we're just going to boil this in a small, we're going to boil this in a small pot. These are lo mein sticks. You've probably seen these before. They look like dry chopsticks, but they're too small. I also recently found out that there was another triangle. I didn't realize it. But it's not just the Bermuda Triangle. And it's not the Devil's Triangle in China or Japan either. It's the Great Lakes Triangle. And that was during the same time period, so I guess that one was out to get us too. Yeah, that's right, the Great Lakes Triangle. Nobody's ever heard of it. But yet it's claimed more boats and planes than the Bermuda has. I don't know, do with that as you please. Alright. I believe these are just to be boiled, correct? Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 minutes. We don't want to cook them too long. So we'll set that up right now. Like I said, I'm not going to use the whole 8 ounces of noodles kind of thing. These were supposed to be fresh noodles, but we can't do that, so. I'm going to take about that much. So we just got to set ourselves about a 1/2 inch diameter bit. And we'll set these aside and cook them during the week. I'm curious to see how these work. I've never used this style before. I know they're common, but I just haven't used them. Alright, let's switch over and get started, shall we? Recipe number 2. There's something on that burner in the back. I don't use it very often. Alright, we're going to use a little bit of a high temperature oil for this one, so I'm going to use our stir fry oil again. We don't want to use too much because this is going in the pot. Maybe a little more. If I remember right, avocado oil has about the highest temperature for this purpose. Now it says to cook the garlic and ginger first, but we saw what happened last time. So we're not going to do that. We're going to cook the mushrooms about halfway and then put in the garlic and ginger. Either way, our goal here is to get our mushrooms, our ginger, and our garlic pretty much the way you want it when you eat it. And then we add in our sugar and chili and broth. Again, I don't have enough, so I'm going to have to use a little chicken broth. which is fine. This is a tasty little dish here. I'm sure it's going to be nice and spicy too. Our third one today is our pork stir fry. This is going to be the easy one, easy stir fry. One that you can just do at any time during the week if you're running out of patience. I like to do some of these easy ones, really easy ones, just to remind people that it's not too much longer than just microwaving a meal sometimes. Not always, but, you know, a little prep work isn't going to kill you. Our oil is almost there, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to let it get up to the point where it's almost ready to smoke. Dicing and slicing tofu need to do something with the tofu you have. Well, the easiest thing to do is to make the little triangles, put some salt, pepper, and cayenne on them, drop them in the black iron, fry them up till they're nice and crispy, and then you can add anything you want. I think I took a picture. Uh-oh. I did. Okay, good. I'm on the ball today. Alright, I think we're about ready. So as I said, we're going to start with our mushrooms today, not the other way around. See how they soaked up that oil like a sponge? It's dry. That bottom of that pan is dry now. That's fine. We'll add a little bit more in a minute if we need to. Those mushrooms are going to start sweating. Once they start sweating, we can go ahead and add our garlic and our ginger. Two to 3 minutes is not going to do it. Oh, well, maybe it will. Look at that, they're already starting to sweat. I guess the stove is running a little hot today. Drop the noodles in. We're only going to let those boil for about 5 minutes. turn the heat down a little bit. All right, we're ready. So we have a little bit of vegetable, a little bit of chicken. The original recipe said either or. So I got a little both. It is still a little short, I can tell you that right now. We're going to add about a cup of water. I'm going to bring the heat back up. We're adding in our soy sauce and our chili. And look at that, it's already turned into broth. Miss you String, you're heading out to dinner? Okay, I'll see you later, Jindal. Thank you for the raid. Have a good time and have good dinner. We'll see ya. We also probably should go ahead and get our sugar in there too. I almost forgot. Our noodles are right at the done stage, at least for this particular run. Yeah, those look pretty good. They look kind of like spaghetti. We're going to get this up to a boil, and then we're going to drop in our tofu. Commercials again. almost start to simmer. I mean it when I said I'm only going to use one set today. It's on. We got the beans and tofu's ready. Our next hot pot, our quote unquote hot pot here is about to be ready. All right, we got a little bit of a boil. Oh, I can smell that chili. I can smell that chili. So here's what we're going to do that's a little different. I don't want to put the noodles down in that mix. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our serving bowl here and we're just going to drop our fresh noodles down in here. And then we'll add the soup on top of it. I know it's a little different from how you would do it if you were serving it, but I'm trying not to waste anything today. Having a slight bit of extra time, I actually didn't have to rush as much today. Normally on Saturday I'm fighting exhaustion in the morning trying to get up so that I can go to the grocery store. Today, I didn't have to do that. So we've got a little bit more time here. Hey, Samu Kiwu, Kiwu Uwu. I'm sorry, I just butchered that. Thank you for the follow and welcome in. I'm not sure what that did someone do don't know. Oh my gosh. Huh. Well, thank you. Welcome in. You came in right in the middle of the second recipe today. How are you doing? Alright, we're simmering pretty well now. We're going to carefully spider in our tofu because I'm not sticking my hands down in there. Some people may have the iron hands, but I don't. also that's going to eat up a lot of our heat. So we'll stir that around a little bit. And we'll let it get back up to a simmer. Doing good? Excellent. Oh, we got a joke. Okay, I have used the same one for the last 2 days now. Let me think for a minute. I don't want to keep repeating myself. Oh yeah. You know, these days everybody's having to work so much. I thought of an idea. I thought maybe I could clone myself, and I asked my landlord if I could clone myself, and he said, "Sure, make yourself at home." Hey Jack, welcome in. How are you doing? For those just coming in, it's already mostly cooled down, but our first one tonight was our green bean and tofu Szechuan. It's starting to cool down and thicken up pretty heavily. Our second one is this broth that we're making right now with mushroom and chili and tofu as well. We're going to add some greens and some cilantro in just a minute, and that's going to be our second one, which is our soup base. Just making some coffee. Oh, okay. That's cool. I can't have it. People wonder how I survive. All right. Our third one today is just going to be a really simple pork stir fry. I thought about this one when I was doing this the other day, and I looked and looked and looked, and I found a chicken one similar. This one is going to use, I'm going to use pork chops for this one. And we're going to try to use up some of our frozen stuff. I've got a lot of bell peppers and jalapenos and green chilies and things that I couldn't find for weeks and weeks and weeks. And last week I found a whole bunch of them, so we sliced them all up and froze them. With it getting hard to find ingredients, sometimes you're going to have to do that. Might play some fan games. Ah, okay. I tried that Shadow Tactics game this week. I actually kind of liked it. Probably going to play some more of that. But Monday, I think we'll still do our art stream. I still need to make two. I still need to work on making 2 more stickers. All right, looks like we're back up to a simmer. We're going to let this simmer for about 3 or 4 more minutes. And then we'll add in our greens and let them only cook until they wilt a little bit. And then that one will be ready. Hey, if I've got to eat healthy, I'm going to at least like what I'm eating, right? I've spent the last couple of years learning how to really cook fairly well, and how to adapt and how to adjust and how to find substitutes. You should see the jar run that I did this week. I mean, it's just sets of spices over and over and over again. I've got so many. There's like 30 of these. Different ones. I have so much chili. I love spicy. The last one is just going to be something that you could do very quickly on your own on a weeknight or something. Especially if you do a little bit of prep work before you want to cook. Like taking your pork and chopping it up and bagging it for the freezer. You could just thaw it out really quick and just start cooking. Not too hard to do. After seeing the prices of things recently, I can't believe it. I mentioned this earlier, but it's getting to the point where they're asking $10 for a quarter-pound cheeseburger. Come on. Nobody's going to buy that. We were paying $1 for those 4 years ago. Nobody's going to buy that. Alright, there's our 2-minute mark. I'm going to pull some of the cilantro out for later. About half of it's going in right now. See how quickly that's sublimating? Right on in. We only want to really let it wilt, but we're going to let it cook for a minute or less. It's already starting to bubble back up, so I'm just going to cut the heat off and let the residual heat cook it. We're doing really good on dishes so far. This is bok choy, by the way, for those that came in later. Doesn't seem to want to separate very well. Alright, let's switch back over here for a minute. And then we'll get started on our last one. We'll see about the other. We might have one more. Alright, so I cooked our noodles. Now, the way that you would do this if you were cooking it to eat now is you'd make the amount of noodles that they requested and then just put them down in the pot right now and just let them simmer for a minute. But we're not doing that because I don't have, I'm not going to be able to store that. I use a little bit of my iron hand skill. Yeah, that's a little hot, by the way. Don't do that. Tofu mushrooms. And our broth. There we go. Oh, that's hot. Woo, that's hot. So there we go. We've got our noodles and we've got our tofu hot pot, as they call it. Looks delicious. Nice and steamy hot. Okay. So let's move on to our last one, potentially last one for the day. We'll see. Luck's not favoring me tonight. Alright, our pork stir fry is very simple. You're going to need about ½ pound to a pound of pork. I'm going to use some center cut chops, which I got fairly inexpensive. It's a little less than a pound. We're going to use salt, soy sauce, and sugar to marinate that. So let's go ahead and get those sitting over here. Where did my soy sauce go? Oh, there it is. And in fact, I'm not going to add salt. I'm just going to use the soy sauce. We need some fresh garlic, which I'm now going to have to open a new one. We used up all of our other garlic today. Please stop doing this. Don't do this, stores. Did our music stop? No, it didn't. Okay. It is, however, about to run out. Where? What? Are you telling me the music's been off this whole time? Oh my god. Please, software, behave. I've had that music running this entire time. I could hear it. Ugh. Sorry. Professional streamer, I promise. Ever since the software updates, I've been having problems. Hello back. Dio, why didn't you tell me the music wasn't running? I know, it's not your responsibility. It's fine. Alright, we got... Oh, good. I buy a new one and it's already got some bad ones in it. Had the other one for 3 weeks. Apparently the music wasn't running. For like the last 2 hours and 45 minutes. I could hear it, but you all couldn't. Nobody said anything, so I guess it's alright. Nobody cared. Alright. believe we also have a small onion with this one. We need black powder, chili powder, and oyster sauce. Black pepper. There we go. There we go. I hate how that camera's backwards. Alright. This is where you make your choices of what you want in it. I've got as I mentioned, a lot of frozen peppers, which we made last week and the week before. So we're going to use those. Because we need to use them before they go bad. Get freezer burn. I'm actually going to grab these two spicy ones. Some of our frozen green. Red. And orange. Peppers. I'm not going to add too many spicy ones. Those two little ones are probably enough for most anybody. I'm, however, going to add a couple of these Serrano slices and a couple more little strips. That ought to work. Stir fry is not stir fry unless it's, a little bit spicy. So this is one that you could have prepped and had in the freezer ready to go for a little while. You will have to heat those up a little longer, of course. Okay. That's pretty much it. We just need to measure out our spices. Very simple. This is something you can do, like I said, on a weeknight pretty quickly. I'm not adding salt to this, because let's be honest, even low sodium, this has 630 milligrams per tablespoon. And this, your oyster sauce, has got 870 milligrams per tablespoon. So between these two, we have more sodium than you could possibly really need. Alright. I got a picture, but let me check. I think I got a picture. Yep, we got a picture. So let's go ahead and prep these up. We need to slice and dice our onions. We need to slice and dice our peppers, which we've already done. And we need about a teaspoon of black pepper and a teaspoon of chili powder. I'm going to use, actually, I forgot. I'm going to use chili powder and I'm going to use a little cayenne. Let me change that picture. I don't want everything sticking to these. I've been washing them as we go. Get them nice and dry. There's a little more garlic here than they called for. And considering the amount of pork, I'm going to go a little easier on the spices. So use a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. And a 1/4 teaspoon of standard red chili. And if you want to, of course, you can add whatever you like. I like seeing the color and I like seeing the flakes. So I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of chili flake as well. I know, that's a little much. And we're just going to take our cup here, put it right here. There we go. Easy enough. Now I'm going to get a poly board out. Chop up our garlic and our onion. Well, those thaw. This is a fairly small onion. You can, whatever amount you want to use will affect the flavor, of course. So however much you want to use, you can use. Everything's up to you. That is a super thick skin. That's thick. Very crunchy. I still can't believe that music was doing that. Oh my god. Stop changing my templates without my permission. Your texture, your needs, you can make anything, you can make this any way you want to. Personally, when it comes to doing stir fry, I don't so much want to just grind everything to paste. I like to have a little bit of texture. I like seeing the color, I like seeing the strips. Makes it more fun to eat. So here's what we're going to do. Cut the skin in half. You see how I cut it a little short and I didn't cut the end off? See how easy that made? That's half of it. That half is going to be chopped up. And we're just going to drop that in there with our peppers. This half, I'm going to cut the end off. We're just going to slice it. gonna leave this one in this condition. And normally, they also would want you to take your garlic here and mince it. We're not gonna do that either. I am gonna smash it a little bit, but not very heavy, not a lot of force. Oh, of course. I'm gonna cut it into thin slices. We're gonna leave those intact. If you make a few little bits, it's not gonna hurt. Looks like about half of them are bad. I just threw 2 of them away. Wish I could return it. Make him give me another one. Yeah, let's go see if we can get another one. I love buying stuff that's labeled fresh and has a good date on it, and turns out to be crap. Looks like this one's okay. Look at that. All of it's like this. I'm losing half of each one. This one too. Hey, back. We're throwing away most of our garlic here. Oh yeah, I can see it. The rest of them are bad too. Well, we didn't get much. Guess we'll have to use some substitute. That might do it. Okay. Oyster sauce. We need about 2 tablespoons. That's 1,600 milligrams of sodium, so I'm keeping track of it. It's just for me to keep track of it, so I know how much is in it. Soy sauce. Tablespoons. That's our marinade. That's a little less than 2. These kinds of things get me really irritated. So this is actually our marinade right here. It's all this chili powder and the soy sauce. We're gonna add that to the pork. So let's go ahead and start slicing up our pork now. Now that we've got everything else prepped, we need to do this because after we start this, we can't use the pork for anything else. And I have to wash the knife. Yeah. We are going to remove that ring of fat. These are very good cuts. They'll be very easy to do. I'm not going to take it all off, but enough. We're going to cut this into little bite-sized strips. Just add those down here. Got to break them up. Just for reference, these chops were $5. For those of you that are keeping track of the prices. Peppers and onions were bought previously, so they don't count against this one. I'm going to leave the fat on this one. I'm also cutting them a little thicker. I was thinking that those first ones were a little thin. Yeah, no bacteria, exactly. I don't mind using the frozen meats that we buy here and then freeze. We've still got plenty. But you don't want to counter mix stuff with old things. There we go. Now for our marinade, we're actually going to Sprinkle all of our chili powder and such right there, and then add our soy sauce. Then we gotta put our hands in it. Oh! I don't like doing that. Be sure to mix it really well. This is the only meat dish we've got today. The other one required garlic too, so we're just gonna have to skip it and I'll get it tomorrow. There we go, see that? Nice even color. So now this one is going to be a matter of timing more than it is anything else, because the pork is going to cook fairly quick. That pork is going to be done pretty quick because it's cut into very small pieces. So your veggies are actually the things that are going to take longer. So we're gonna cook our chilies, our onion first, and then we're gonna add our garlic, and then our peppers. Actually, let me just go ahead and do this. I'm modifying the recipe. Because this is not going to create a sauce the way that it's written. I've looked at a few of these and I know how this works, and that's not going to create a sauce. There we go. So we're going to do it a little differently. Let's see how this works. I am going to keep a little water on hand though, because we don't want everything to get dry. Alright, are we ready? I think we're ready. So here we go. I'm going to keep this temperature a little bit lower since the stove's been running hot today. Now we're doing a little experimenting. same saute oil today. Might as well be consistent about it, right? Not too bad on dishes today. This is going to require more oil. We're going to let this get nice and hot, like we did before. Just give it a minute. Popping is the water that's still in there. You be aware of that. Be careful. Why you have to be careful about having water in there. There's still a little bit of water when I put it in. This goes for your frozen stuff too, be careful. Oh my gosh, what's going on over there? Just a second. Must be the time I took a scalding hot roux and poured it directly in the broth. Oh my gosh. Hey, microwave 800, welcome in. Oh man, yeah, it's about 2 hours, but you close. Welcome in. I hope you're having a good day. We're working on our last recipe today. I'm going to add a little bit of our spices to this since I had to sacrifice them to the marinade. So this might end up a little bit spicier. I'm just going to add chili powder instead of the cayenne. Just a little. We'll also probably be adding a little soy sauce to this as well. Bear in mind, we've also got some spicy chilies in here too. So don't go overboard. I'm going to bring the heat up just a little. We've got a nice amount of color here. We'll add our pork here in just a second. Oh, we've got a pun redeem too. Oh, let me think for a second. I already ran through them today. Um, 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 um. Since it's Easter tomorrow, everybody have fun and play with your kids and hide the eggs and don't mix the two up. Oh, I had another one. Oh, when one door closes, another door will open. Used to be my dad. Great guy, but terrible carpenter. Now, it's Boeing. All right, let's mix in our marinated pork here. I'm going to add a little bit of water to this. There we go. It's kind of thickening out a little bit. We gotta get this temperature up. It cooled down too much. The stove's just all over the place today. I'm gonna try to get some new burners put in. I'm adding a little bit of soy sauce. Now we'll do something to make sure our pork cooks a little more evenly. It is very thin, so it'll cook quickly. We're just going to set a lid over it. Just like that. Now we gotta check and make sure we have enough soy sauce. Okay, I do have one more bottle. I've got so many wonderful flavors in this house. I've got lots of things that aren't even available elsewhere. I had to order a lot of it. See what I mean about it forming a sauce? It just formed right up. Now we'll let that cook down a little bit while the pork is finishing. I told you that would be a really easy one. This one didn't even take 10 minutes to prep. It just was a matter of chopping up the pork and grabbing stuff out of the freezer. We shouldn't eat but another minute or two. I had to do 2 recoveries today. Wow. Oh boy. I have one more in mind, but I think I'm going to have to do it tomorrow because of the garlic situation. So there may be a Discord cooking session tomorrow morning if anybody's interested. If you'd like to join the Discord, you're welcome to do so. The link under the stream should be active. When you join in, you'll find that you're in a landing zone. You just need to let somebody know you're there, and we'll pick it up. Just be a little patient. It might take a little while. We've got 3 or 4 mods and super mods, which can handle it. If I don't get to it first. I love how these recipes never turn out the color that they show you in pictures and everything else. I tell you, it's because they're saturating their photos. They're exaggerating them. I've seen videos so saturated that people have turned orange. No thanks. I'll just make mine natural. Thank you. It's starting to boil down pretty quick. I think we're done. Alrighty. We are looking pretty good this week. We've got 3 different dishes to choose from. There's probably enough here to eat most of the week without having to do anything.
Right. Extra.
Thank you. So we have 3 relatively simple Chinese dishes. I am definitely going to have to modify the recipes for 2 of these because they were not cooperating the way that they said they would. And part of that reason, of course, is because we're cooking with an electric stove, not a wok. We're not soaking everything in oil. I'm cutting short a little bit on the salt. And not using a wok. So I tried to make these so that they would be more friendly for everybody else, because not everybody's got a wok. So hopefully, when I post these recipes, I think I'll have the modifications down, and if anybody'd like to try to make some of them themselves, I'd love to get a report on what I modified and what you think. So with that, I think it's probably time that we started heading out. I did want to make some crab rangoons today, but the problem is that I needed the garlic and I needed some spring onions, and we're just out of time now. So with that, let's take a look at our wall of love here. Really appreciate everybody being here today. And our new followers, Microwaves, Samuku, Coconut, and Mr. Robin James. Really appreciate that. Tovin, Sen, Dio, Jindal, I know you were here. And Jindal, thank you so much for the raid as well. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Dio. I really appreciate everybody that comes in and everybody that helps. You know, it's been a while now. I'm well over 3 years. We're working our way into 4. I didn't think I'd be here that long. So it's kind of nice to see that everybody likes to come in. With that, I think we're going to find somebody to raid here. Let's see. Oh gosh, there's a lot of people doing VR chat tonight. Oh boy. I don't think you all want that. know I don't normally do this, and I don't think I've rated him in a while.
Get a person.
Okay, that might be interesting. Let's raid on over there. Akos has been a little foul-mouthed this afternoon. I'm not going to take everybody over there. Just being honest, he's been cussing a lot, so. We're going to raid somebody we don't normally get to raid. They've been doing a big subathon and something else going on, but they're good. They're a good streamer and they're doing a lot right now. So we're gonna head over there and say hi. If you've got my emotes, you're welcome to use them. If you don't, use whatever you got. As for a raid message, we are just gonna go with our standard here. So if you'd like to cut and paste it out of the chat, you're welcome to do so. We're going to head on over and say hi to Snack Station. They're playing Cult of the Lamb tonight. I think we'll be back Monday. Probably going to do a new art stream. I need to make some stickers and I need to work on redoing a few more of them again and again until I get them right. I'm new at this, so I've got to take some time and practice. So with that, I may see some of you tomorrow in Discord, and if not, I'll see you Monday in the next stream. So y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy your Easter. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. Bye now.